Yeah, keep going live. Hello, everybody. We're starting. I've heard rumours that it's thing called doing it when the time says, but what the hey, it's me. So, I have him. He has returned from the wilderness. We have stories. And Matt, we have definitely got at least one story for you. I think you'll be able to work it out. Hey, we may have a couple, but one is most definitely for you, mate. So, Nomad, you have some fascinating and this is the disturbing thing, real stories for us, don't you?
Yeah, I do have a few stories, just a few, not a whole plethora like I normally do. just a few stories. We're gonna keep it light. We could talk about real news, right? I could talk about how the Iraqi prime minister was drone striked from Iran, but we won't talk about that, right? People are getting jealous of the American drone strikes. They gotta, they carbon copies.
We won't go. Yeah,
But of course
that's disturbing.
of course they missed. which puts it right there. If you want to do the real look, when you use a drone strike or any other strike from the American forces, there's a thing called you ensure your target is gone. Now, you might hit the wrong person, all right, but that person's not coming back from the grave either.
Yes, sir.
All right, they're not going to go, "Hey, you missed." Mainly because if "Hey, we missed," here's the second one. I'm not saying we're perfect, but we believe
we may miss, but worst case scenario, we will get you with the next one. And where'd I put that note? Mm-hmm.
There's something called overkill. Okay.
There is?
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. So let's start off with something. It's still pretty dour. It's a real story. It comes from NBC. Woman dressed as a UPS driver shoots another woman in Northeast DC. Police say. Did you realize that dressing up as a UPS driver is a fashion trend for women nowadays?
You know what? If you think about it, it kind of makes sense since they're trying to bring communism in. I mean, UPS drivers all dressed in brown and wearing a cap and absolutely, nothing interesting about them. I think that actually describes the whole communist clothing, apart from the fact they like grey.
Right.
Just saying.
Yeah, you did little Nehru jacket style. Be good to go, right? Woman dressed as a UPS delivery driver shot another woman multiple times in Northeast DC and then attempted to take her own life. You shot another woman multiple times but couldn't kill yourself?
Please tell me she ran out of ammo, because if not, it means she missed, and that's funny.
Officers were called to a shooting at the 1600 block of Rosedale Street Northeast in the Kingman Park neighborhood at around 9:20 p.m. This is not even like 2 or 3 in the morning. I mean, police believe a woman dressed as a UPS driver knocked on the victim's door pretending to have a package at 9:30 at night.
Ah.
All right, I think you're an idiot if you open the door.
Mm-hmm.
All right, just putting it out there. When first responders arrived at the scene, they found the victim suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. She was transported to a hospital and treated for injuries that were not life-threatening. Oh, she did. She wasn't even able to successfully kill the other woman.
Oh my God!
Right? Shortly after, authorities stopped the suspect's vehicle at 14 block Florida Avenue Northeast. Officers walked up to the car, and the suspected driver then shot herself. The suspect was reportedly in critical condition. All right, police said she faces several charges, including assault with a dangerous weapon. It's not known if the suspect is a real U.S. or UPS, employee, or if she was posing as one. Authorities said both women knew each other and some sort of dispute preceding the shooting. Officers are also investigating a man who was in the car with the suspect at the time of the traffic stop to determine whether or not it has any connection with the original shooting. What do you think here?
Well, There is one thing I want to say about this, okay? That is what you call truly going postal. And I mean that most literally, okay? That describes it all perfectly, and we've now gone past 5 minutes. You can say what you like.
I just put this out here, Jensen. I don't think that I don't think this means what they think it means. Just put it out there. I don't think that this means what they think it means. It's just,
Yeah, ain't quite right somehow, is it? It
I,
just, hey, they must have had a plan, I guess. I don't know, but what the hell,
we don't know if the guy in the car, the girl's driving around with a gun and shoots herself in front of this guy. Do you think he was just like, hey, I was hitchhiking and she picked me up?
Obviously, she thought he was a package. What can I say? You're trying to deliver him somewhere. What? I mean, seriously. Where was this again? Sorry, just clarification.
She might have been interested in his package.
This is, yeah, it's not necessarily something you want to talk about with one of the stories we've got coming up, and you have to do that one next. Okay, just on that joke, you have to do that
No,
one
I
next.
don't. I've got a little sequence here. It'll wait. It'll hold.
Yeah. You really shouldn't make that joke either, but it will hold. Okay.
just these are the stories. This is a real story, right? This is how they wrote the story, right?
Yeah.
They don't know if this guy's involved. Shortly after the incident. I would like to know what they mean by shortly after, like an hour after, 2 hours, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, right?
Bro?
I'm just curious. All right. Did this woman have time to go to the freaking club, do her little strip dance? Because she works at like Twisties down the corner.
No, actually, Jim has said that no, going postal actually involves competent shooters usually. He's right there. I can't actually disagree with him.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see what you like about the postman over there. At least they generally hit what they're shooting at.
Yeah, when the postal workers came in on rampages, all right, which is what the whole term, why the whole term came into being there was a rash in the 1980s of postal workers, right, workers for the post office, literally going into their place of work and eliminating people they saw as problem children. So just pointing out that's where the term postal comes from, and yeah, they would normally get a good 5 or 6 people before they took their own lives.
Unlike this woman who can't even hit herself, let alone anyone else, which is glorious.
Well, she hit herself because she's in critical condition, but she shot a woman multiple times, and that person is non-life threatening. This woman's in critical condition. She probably shot herself in the head, put the thing in her and shot herself in the head. It's like, but you didn't do that to the victim? You're smart enough to shoot yourself in the head, but not the victim you're trying to hurt or kill. Just point it out there.
Just to say it, okay, and actually not trying to be the dick with it. I'm actually trying to give a sensible answer here. I'm assuming it was a road rage incident of some sort, but
why would you assume it was a road rage incident? This has all the markings of, this is my man. You freaking hussy!
Oh my god, yeah. You're not wrong there, actually. Might well be.
She just came home from her shift at UPS. Took a look at his phone, saw her number, went over to go see Missy. All right, to reestablish her dominance of, this is my man. Just putting it out there. That's what I think happened. And she probably said, get in the car.
Yeah?
Get in the car. Told the guy, she pulled the gun on him. Get in the car. You're going to see me do this.
I will prove that you belong to me. Yeah.
Any debates?
You know what? Both Matt and Jim are correct. From Matt, call me crazy, but maybe the lady isn't right in her mind. I agree. And from Jim, if the guy's smart, more sight than a corpse right now. again, completely agree. This is not the time where you start to, question your lady, but she's armed. Not generally a good plan. I'm going to go with.
I get the survivor. Duel to the death. I get the survivor. Why you would want either one of these women, I don't know. I don't know what all this is about. Right? Maybe she stole
No.
the weed. I don't know. I mean, I'm just
Oh, she could have been a package. She could have been. And jokes aside, she actually could have been a package thief, and that's why she went after her with a gun.
Could be. It's a good question.
Yeah, because I have seen that as a lot of people quite literally put traps on their packages.
Yeah.
Just to get package thieves, which I love the concept. Just my idea of a trap is a little bit more than a light electric shock. I'm thinking maybe a claymore because it's funny.
Well, a claymore mine is not.
Right.
A claymore mine going
You're
off
laughing.
at that distance is not going to leave much of anyone around.
Right. Is the person capable of stealing my package anymore? If no, I call that a success.
Yeah, but you kind of partially removed the front end of your house. I mean,
Renewal.
They are. I'm just saying, if you put that on your doorstep, you're going to have a new front door. You're going to have to get one, folks. Even if the front toward enemy is pointing toward the street. Okay, I'm just telling you. Are we ready for the next story?
See, you go for it, mate.
All right, let's get to the next story. I have disappeared myself from this thing. I don't know how I did that. Oh, actually, no, I don't know how I did that.
What have you done?
There we go. Well, now I'm back.
Oh, right, that's better. Oh, yes. Matt, this one's all for you, mate.
All the dumb mistakes made by New Yorkers who went rural. This is not all the dumb mistakes they make. Folks, this isn't even the start. Okay?
Oh, no.
Alright. Actress, alright, Kate Chapman was in Sarasota, alright, working on a new musical last March when she got a call from her husband, Ed, back in New York. Broadway, where he was working as a sound technician on Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, had gone dark. Manhattan had shut down. This COVID thing seemed serious. He was driving to rural Colorado with their best friend that night, and Kate should join them too. Now, he's driving with his best friend to rural Colorado from New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a long way away, isn't it?
It's nowhere close. Okay.
Okay.
I wanted my Florida time, Kate said, 51 recalled. It was March, and I wanted to be where it was warm. Colorado isn't warm in March. Just saying. All right, it is springtime, kinda. But it's not what I would call warm. She thought of the condo she was staying in for free in Sarasota. Why did you leave? Okay. Complete with swimming pool and tennis courts. She thought of the 40 acres Ed had bought 2 years ago outside Colorado Springs for retirement, which had an unfinished house and not much else. She booked a ticket out west anyway. Yeah, okay. A year and a half later, it turns out that life on the Colorado prairie isn't quite the vacation they anticipated. Now, take a look at what these people are standing behind. Okay? Look how big it is and look how big they are. Just
yeah.
I want you to understand what you're looking at here. Okay? See, it's got the little solar panels. We're all going green.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a picture of it from the other side, not from the back door.
Mm-hmm.
Clued in? All right, it was brutal. All right, Kate said. The couple, along with their friend, musician Mary Ann Ivan, all right, who has spent much of the pandemic with them, immediately got to work transforming the barren property into a home. All right, Ed 55 designed a garage and finally put down floors in the house.
Wow. Hmm.
We were just walking around on planks for a long time until I got a hardwood floors in, he admitted. Ed and man planted trees, half of which died. All right. Now, folks, the word was Colorado prairie. What don't you find on prairies?
They're not generally known for trees. Just, I mean, I'm no expert. I'm, city boy and England. We don't generally have prairies over here. I have looked, but I'm guessing that that's a no-go for you guys. Okay?
Dug out a
I
pond.
like that. From Matt. Floors, very fancy.
Dug out a pond involving a backhoe almost tipping over, and their lives flashing before their lives.
Wow.
And built a vegetable garden while braving 60 miles an hour winds, dust storms, hail, and more. What do you think the weather is like? We're on version 14 of the garden hutch. All right, said Ivan 54, adding that the harsh winds kept destroying their plants. Did you bother when you were buying the seeds to talk to the local people to say, how do I do this? Did you bother when you walked into Home Depot or Lowe's to get your seed, or Menards to get your seeds? Did you bother talking to these guys and say, hey, I want to do a garden, how well will this work? And if they look at you, that's pretty stupid, then you know that this isn't something you should be putting in.
They didn't speak to the natives because the natives were wetting themselves laughing at them. Let's be honest. Okay? I say, I'm going to grow myself some jolly old cabbage. That sounds good. Yeah, that's going to go really well for them. I can tell.
Adding that the
I agree with Shrati.
What?
I like trees too. He said, I prefer trees.
Yeah, well, I can understand people that believe that. Right? One day it was going to hail, so we got a clothesline, and we were putting the clothesline through the grommets, trying to tie down the tarp so that the plants wouldn't be killed. It looked like we were on a sailboat trying to get a sail down in the midst of a hurricane. No, you're just an idiot. You're just an idiot to start with.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is not, and I repeat, this is not the Babylon Bee. Technically, these are real people. It's just, if you can find a brain throughout any of them, do let me know.
Meanwhile, Kate, who has a steady remote work as a life coach, all right, takes care of a brood of 2 dogs, cat, and 7 chickens, down from 11. Chickens are surprisingly cuddly, she said of her new pets. Okay.
I'm not. I just can't. Okay.
My favorite chicken, Squiggles, became a prairie snack for some kind of bird of prey.
No, really? Well, how about that? I'm shocked. I think the name actually says a lot. Squiggles. I mean,
free range chicken.
Yeah.
This is their chicken coop, I imagine, because these people would do something like try to put a solar panel on a chicken coop. This is the kind of stupid shit that you would do. I'm sorry.
No,
It's a tale
we
as
have
old
people
as
watching us.
It has tales as old as time. Sophisticated urbanites leaving the concrete jungle for the country and find themselves in over their heads. Think Diane Keaton bumbling through the Vermont snow in Baby Boom, or a Carrie Bradshaw falling in the mud while visiting her boyfriend upstate New Retreat in Sex in the City. I don't never watched Sex in the City, so I have no idea who Carrie Bradshaw is or any of the rest of the shit. Yet during the pandemic, with the Big Apple on the verge of collapse and workplaces shutting down or going totally remote, many New Yorkers found themselves drawn to the promise of a simpler rural life. No, it wasn't. They were drawn to the prospect of taxes, no taxes. This is I can get rid of these New York taxes. That's what they were drawn to. Let's be perfectly frank here. Right?
You're not wrong.
A simple rural life away from people and surrounded by nature. Oh.
And hurricanes and storms. And nothing wrong.
And you learn that nature sucks, don't you? That's what prompted Allison Mahoney, a civil rights lawyer, to ditch the trendy Dumbo for the sleepy Snowmass Village, Colorado. Right? In other words, these idiots are infesting Colorado now. Why you think Colorado's the place to be? I don't know. Right? Maybe it's because they've elected liberals in Denver, and Denver dominates the freaking region. Denver and Colorado Springs, and they're run by a bunch of freaking Marxists, and you think that you're going to live the happy life. Okay.
It'll be fun. You've got to give it that. It won't be fun to see.
Okay. The 38-year-old said about being confined to a small apartment during the pandemic. I was trying to think, where would it be pleasant to stay over the winter? A ski town, like the first thing that popped into my head. A ski lodge is your idea of a great place to live.
Yeah.
So she bought a condo in Snowmass, population of less than 3,000. My first night staying there I was petrified because it was so quiet. Living in such a remote mountain town has other drawbacks. The U.S. Postal Service, all right, can't and won't deliver mail here. So suddenly I had to get a post office box. I've never had to go to a post office so much in my life. Oh, did you think the postman comes around?
Fairness, mate. At least, having the postman coming around is one thing. Having that last UPS one coming around, maybe not so much. Yeah. Just saying.
Ford Deal and Zoe Macias, all right, both 28, left their one-bedroom Williamsburg apartment for more space this June, buying a ramshackle 1891 Victorian in Damascus, Pennsylvania, in the Catskills. Yet the couple soon realized that the house was not quite ready to move in as advertised. It kind of started with a leak and ended up with us basically tearing down 4 exterior walls, and then we had to take out the insulation, and then we found out that we had to get a new roof. Well, yeah,
that's a new house. You've literally described a new house. Wow.
4 exterior walls. How many exterior walls do you have? Is this like
a correct me if I'm wrong.
If it's a rectangle, that's 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Unless
a roof.
Unless they were in an octagon or something. Well, if it started with the leak, then yeah, the roof is the first thing you're going to have to fix.
Yeah.
Just putting it out there. Adam Weinstein and Marina Lone Weinstein, all right, had similar realization when they moved last March from Washington Heights into a farmhouse in Pawling, New York, full time. Things like changing the toilet seat. I had no idea how to. Oh my God, folks!
Wow.
Right? said Luong Weinstein, who works in the fashion industry and is 40-ish. All right, the couple had inherited the farmhouse back in 2017, but they had just rented it as an Airbnb. When COVID hit and their rentals dried up, they decided to move in there full time. It was certainly an adjustment period, said, of their new life they called the Wicked Finch Farm. These people are idiots. Look, they're trying to get a beehive going. That's the thing. And notice they painted it colors, right, to make it look cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
We made the dumb city mistake of admiring the gorgeous birds and feeding them. We soon realized that this also brought mice, raccoons, and then bears. We'll talk about the bears. Another time, a thief stole a basket of strawberries that he had left outside. I had to go to the security video to see who stole them, and it turned out to be a giant possum. Oh, you left food out, and the wildlife got a hold of it.
I'm shocked.
You left a basket of strawberries.
I'm gonna be blunt, dude. These people are not going to survive when this world goes to shit, okay? Let's get blunt, alright? If there is a zombie invasion, the only reason these guys will survive is because there's nothing there for the zombies to eat. Okay? No brains whatsoever. I think they've proved it. They left food out in the wild. Wow.
Luong Weinstein said that they now fully adapted, and she has a thriving business selling boozy cocktail-inspired jams made from the fruits that grow on the farm. And the couple has even gotten their first beehive. Yeah, I saw that. Good luck keeping your bees alive. All right. For those who don't know anything about bees, right, raising bees, right, bees are really cool.
Before you do, can you actually send me a link to that one, please? I just want to be able to read
story?
that a bit later. Yes, please. That would be rather awesome. Just for sheer dumbassery. Okay.
All right. For people who don't know, bees are they're not. They do things on their own, but the first problem for people that when they get bees, right, is they want to go play with the bees. Right? They want to play with them. Why they want to play with them, I don't know. Right? But because it's these things sting, right? And anybody who gets a beehive, right, and you're going to get honey from the bees, right? Just understand, you're going to get stung. Okay? Understand
no,
this.
really?
You're going to get stung. You're going to get stung by bees, right? From time to time, right? The bees stay. Let's be honest. Unless you're allergic, and that's not an exaggeration, but unless you're allergic to bees, a bee sting is annoying. Okay, it's nothing more than like getting a sticker, stuck on you for a little bit of time. Okay. And in New York, you don't have to worry about the Africanized honeybees that you have to worry about out here in Arizona, right? Where they will swarm if you're near, one of their hives. Okay. But the first thing about bees is when you start a new colony, it's weak. Okay.
Yeah.
The bees have to build everything. Okay. And they may or may not find your accommodations for whatever reason, all right, justifiable. People don't realize this, but the queen bee, you know how ants, when the queen goes out, she flies and then on her maiden flight, right, on their nuptial flight, and the other ants find her and then impregnate her, and then she goes to the earth, and then she stays in the ant nest for the rest of her life, right?
Yep.
Bees aren't like that. Okay.
I'd just like to read something to you, mate.
Yes.
From B. That's discrimination. Bees don't sting. No, they throw fucking shoes.
She doesn't have a harpoon yet.
Thankfully. It still scares me that that could happen.
But the
Mhm.
bees, the queen bees, never lose their wings. They can fly and leave at any point in time. And when they do, they swarm and they leave. Generally, what will happen is the queen will, when they're ready to swarm, they'll produce queen cells. And when the queen cells are produced, the a lot of times the queen bee leaves,
Mhm.
right, and half of the hive will leave with her, and the other half.
Yeah.
This is how bees spread in the wild. But bees also are notorious for getting mites and all sorts. There's all sorts of things that kill bees, and winter is one of them, right? And if you put a beehive where these idiots had the beehive, right, out in the middle of nowhere, in the cold in the winter, where all the weather can get to it,
Mhm.
your bees are not going to survive the winter. All
No.
right. The other thing, of course, is in order for bees to be productive, they have to be left alone. Right? You kind of have to monitor them. I've talked to some people who they had a guy who rented space on our land when I was growing up and put on
Huh?
beehives. Right? We had like 15 beehives on the land. Right? And as payment, he would give us jars of honey. I mean, just huge jars of honey. Right? For payment for it.
Nice.
So it was pretty cool. But you talk to this guy, and, and he went through all the problems that they had, right, with the bees and how to keep them alive and everything. And what he did, right, is he literally transported the bees in the wintertime down south. He would pack up the hives and transport them down south, right, in the wintertime so that they didn't freeze. Now, bees can survive in the wild, but you will lose at least half to close to 2/3 of the bees in the hive. And if one of those
Oh
bees
yeah.
and if one of those bees is the queen, and they don't have a queen cell ready, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Right? Just put it out there. Keeping bees is very difficult. Most people end up killing their bees off the first three to four hives, from what I've read. We read into the next story. Enough about the bees.
Go for it, mate.
Anxiety linked to irritable bowel syndrome. Seen in DNA, says research. Really? Anxiety link seen in DNA. Hey, now, why don't you read this again? Anxiety linked in DNA.
Yes.
Is that the female gene? You are talking about.
Oh dear. Hmm.
Genes may go some way towards explaining why a common but poorly understood gut disorder, irritable bowel syndrome, right, is often linked with anxiety, say researchers. Anxiety and ulcers and other, things like that, they're not linked. They haven't figured out this link yet. Who did this story? The BBC? Did you guys over there in Britain? Is this a new concept for you guys?
I just want to say, defund the BBC. That's it. Carry on. I just felt the need to say that.
The team studied more than 50,000 individuals with irritable bowel syndrome, comparing their DNA with those of healthy people. The results are published in the Journal of Natural or Nature Genetics. Irritable bowel syndrome is a thought to affect about 1 in 10 people, and can cause stressing abdominal pain, bloating, and bouts of constipation, diarrhea, or both, or PMS. You just described PMS, right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Oh no, you did. Yes. I just want to say something to Matt. BBC groundbreaking. Yeah. You know that BBC is building Britain's caliphate, don't you? Okay. So the only way they're groundbreaking is because they're setting bombs. Just saying. All yours, mate.
with no defining test, diagnosis comes after ruling out other causes. Women are slightly more affected than men. Really. The usual age for patients that seek advice is between 20 and 40. Do I really need to go on with this story?
Actually, from Sharati, I've got a question. Did they ask any of them if they were on their period? or, if they had, or if they had a gallbladder?
I'm just putting this out there. Professor Miles Parks, a consultant and a gastroenterologist at Cambridge Adsbrook Hospital, who led the gene research, says irritable bowel syndrome is still poorly understood, even by doctors, and may be incorrectly categorized as psychosomatic because of the overlap with anxiety and stress. He and his team say they've identified at least 6 distinct genetic differences, all right, that might at least partially explain the link between the gut and the mind. 6 genetic differences. Really? Boy, they narrowed this one down, didn't they? they narrowed this link down.
Oh, they've got it sorted, mate. Oh, yeah.
I got a question. How many of the gay genes?
Oh,
is there an overlap there?
Oh,
How much
don't
did they
forget
pay?
you.
How much did they pay this guy to do this study?
Too much is the answer to that. And YouTube, don't ban us, Mazza. We're sorry, Mazza.
I'm just putting it out there. This is the same kind of nonsense. Yeah, there's gay genes out there. Trust me, folks. If there's a gay gene out there, it won't be for long.
Are you saying that there's a solution? Maybe it could be defined as a final solution about this?
I mean, there's people that had that opinion.
Wow, how about that? Why did no one tell me about these people? I've never heard anything about them.
I'll be honest with you. A lot of them have made comments along the lines of, "I don't want my child to be gay because it causes so much distress. So I'll make sure that there aren't anymore." Yeah, I'm just putting it out there. There are people like that. Well,
True,
think about
yeah.
you laugh. People laugh about that, but really, you really think that's not what would happen? Is if there let's assume that there is a gay gene. Let's assume it for a moment. If there's a gay gene, there'll be people that'll sit up there and have their unborn childs tested to see whether or not they have some genetic abnormality. Well, everything is fine and perfect. You're going to have a perfectly child. That's just that your child's going to be a lesbian. How many people will abort the fetus? Just like they do for Down syndrome or anything else that they sit up there and don't want.
That's the thing. That probably will happen. I agree. Disgusting. I want that noted. I'm saying it right now. It's disgusting that sort of thing is something that people consider. But I agree. It's actually quite likely. Disturbingly.
I mean, they do it in Korea. This is true. In Korea, they had to ban the parents, right, of the parent of a pregnant an unborn child, right, from seeing their ultra scans.
Oh.
And the reason they did that is they found out that there was such a high percentage that were aborting female babies. All right, that it was actually creating a disparity in the number of male children versus female children being born in Korea. And it wasn't a small difference. We're talking for every woman child being born, there was 3 men being born. Okay? And it has to do with the culture, it has to do with a lot of factors, but they for about a 10-year period, you had 70% of the children being born were men or were boys.
And yet they say that the West are the ones that are anti-female. Hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we can most. I can. I reckon I'm comfortable in saying that Korea counts as the East.
Yeah,
Just saying,
definitely Oriental.
making sure I don't want to make any mistakes. I'm checking with somebody who knows more about it. After all, you did kind of work there, so
Yeah, I spent a couple of years there. Yes, right. It's an interesting place. Right. Do you want to hear a story?
Go on then.
Now, my first tour in Korea, I didn't get sentenced to the remote site, so I was just in the camp, and we went downrange. It was me and three friends of mine, right? One other guy and two girls, right?
Yeah.
And believe it or not, none of us were dating one another, right? So
Okay.
this is not this. These are just friends, friends, right?
Yeah.
And to be honest, I really didn't even want to go because I'm not a big shopper to begin with, right? But people wanted to go shopping, and I was like, okay, let's go. In the military, there's nothing better to do. What the hell? you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we went down to Pyeongtaek, which is a little ways away from Camp Humphreys, but we went down to Pyeongtaek and wandering around, right? And of course,
Mhm.
whenever you take girls and you use the term shopping with you, you can imagine, there's some
Yeah.
strange genetic thing about shoes with women. I have yet to understand this. All right, they can't stop and walk by a place with shoes. Okay, they cannot walk. They may not buy anything, but they're gonna hit every freaking shoe store they see. Okay, just
Yeah.
putting it out there.
Yeah. I have no idea what you mean. I know nobody that would show an interest in shoes whatsoever.
Well,
If I keep saying that, maybe she won't throw any at me.
that's because she keeps losing one or two when she starts flinging them around. You gotta understand she has to reload. But anyway,
One else goes to a gun shop to reload. He goes to a shoe shop. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
so we're walking down the street though, and Ken and I were a bit ahead of the girls who were, like I said, they were stopping at every freaking shoe store, so they would always stop in front of a freaking window, and we'd continue walking until we looked back and said because they weren't with us, right? But we're walking, and all of a sudden we're like, "Ow!" Right? And we look back, and one of the girls was named Julie. Now Julie was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl, right? And I mean, not an absolute natural blonde, right?
Yeah.
And she had that thin, silky hair, right? That it was only the shoulder length, so it wasn't down her back or anything, right? But it was shoulder length hair, right? And she has her head tilted because an old Korean woman, the grandmother, right, has grabbed her hair, right, and
Good God.
and is rolling it in her fingers, right? Ooh, and she's calling people over, all right, to see because they hadn't seen Americans, right, with real blonde hair
Ah.
Americans, and she's calling people over to come touch her hair, right, to show them it's real, this is real hair. And of course,
Wow.
Julie's like, "Help me!" And well, before we could help, we had to stop laughing, and that, that took a little bit, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it was one of those things that in the days when you go to an area where they don't see Americans very often, right? And all of a sudden, you're in the middle of the Korean shop because there was no where we had gone. There were absolutely no Americans around. There was no one near us.
Yeah.
We were totally in the middle, immersed in Korea, right? In the general Korean populace. But
Yeah.
that's a Korean story, right? So yeah, it's amazing, it's amazing. But this doctor here, he can't figure out what causes irritable bowel syndrome. How about stress? I imagine You know what'll fix the irritable bowel syndrome, Jensen?
Weed?
No,
Well, we're gonna go
no,
with
no,
weed. Okay.
no, 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 no. Come on, you were in the military.
uh,
Right?
yeah, my
MREs will cure irritable bowel syndrome because after you eat two, you won't shit for a week.
this is fair. And by the way, just to let you know, I was that weird guy. I actually liked MREs.
I didn't say MREs were bad tasting, but they're created to
Okay, cool.
create constipation. All right,
This is fair.
all right. And when are you going to be under stress? I don't know.
Bro, yeah. You know, I can't really disagree with you there. Fair point.
The doctor said, when the patient comes in, oh, really, it's stress. I've had it. Here you go. Don't worry about it. Eat a couple of these for a week.
Yeah.
You won't
Hey,
have a problem with your bowels for a while because you won't be going
no,
anywhere.
it's good food. And like it or not, okay, you can say what you like about MREs. They give you all the nutrients you need. Okay, so, yeah, no, I actually am surprised they don't do stuff like that, to be honest.
Just putting it out
No, fair point.
there. All right, on to the next story.
Hmm.
Gonna have to shrink my little icon down so you can see the story a little bit here. British Columbia doctor clinically diagnoses patient suffering from climate change. He picked up his patient's chart and penned the words "climate change." Climate change has entered the ER for the first time in his 10 years as a physician. An emergency room doctor picked up a patient's chart and penned the words "climate change." If we're not looking at underlying causes, we're just treating symptoms, and we're just going to keep falling further and further behind, he told Glacier Media. All right, when asked why he did it. At the same time, Merritt said he hoped another family physician would read the chart and one day consider having a straighter line between their patient's health and climate change.
Wow. Yeah. I don't actually know what to say apart from this guy really needs to lose his ability to, be a doctor. Just saying. All right.
Yeah.
Though,
His license should be up for review at this point.
yeah. But in all fairness, okay, I'm going to now defend him just to be weird. Let's be honest, mate. If the climate change goblin was standing in front of you, wouldn't you be feeling ill? I know I would.
Do you think they drag her to the hospital to get rid of the patients on the cusp? We're short of beds. Let her walk through. Okay, well, I cleared about 6 or 7.
You know what? We've just discovered what it is that calls IBS. Oh, just what do
Climate
you
change.
say?
We're
Yeah.
gonna fix it. Here, touch the solar panel. Everything's gonna be fine. Pet the solar. Where's Snuggles? Oh, that's right. The raptor got it. Snuggles the chicken.
Oh, wow, that is just truly something. I don't actually know what.
Snuggles the free range chicken. She's free now.
Fly? Oh, no, they can't. Oh, dear. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Matt, climate change. But I don't even know what to say to this. This was one of those stories that I actually switched my brain off because I don't know what there is that can be said.
Hey, doctor, he's got a
Though
heart
I
attack.
believe
Sorry, it's climate change, man. We do it. How about you try it? I'm sorry, we were just treating the symptoms. The guy has a heart attack. This one's having a stroke. Hey, doctor, my arm got lopped up. Well, the air's warming. The air's warming, and
Yes.
it had to take your arm.
From B, are we euthanizing people who are suffering from climate change? Yes. Yes, we really, really should.
No, we should be
That's
euthanizing.
actually not a bad idea.
We should be
Uh,
euthanizing the doctors that prescribe it. Okay,
yes.
understand the difference. We should
I
be.
mean, I actually remember hearing recently they tried to actually claim that racism was a medical concern. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. I know people are going to think I'm joking, but seriously, they actually tried to claim that racism was a medical illness.
Medical emergency, racism.
Yeah, yeah, just wow. I don't know what to say.
You know? Okay. Well, then we have this story. Since you don't want to talk about that one, more men than ever are going to the hospital with painful erections lasting for hours.
Hmm. Actually, again, climate change goblin would cure this problem. If you've still got a stiffy after she's walked through the room, damn, you're good. Even a friend of mine, Tyler, couldn't get a stiffy to her. Okay?
More men than ever are going to the hospital with painful erections lasting for hours. Worrying figures show there's 326 admissions in England last year, up 16% on a decade ago. That's because back a decade ago, guys wouldn't be going to the hospital; they'd be bragging in the street.
Yes. I just want to respond to something B has said. Maybe racism is a symptom of climate change. No, they've actually already said that, by the way. Okay, I'm not joking. They've actually claimed that racism is part of climate change. And just to give you a real chuckle, they tried to claim that the Taliban is because of climate change.
Yeah, okay.
Enjoy that.
Some sufferers are even in their 80s and 90s.
Again, little blue pills. It's gotta be.
Now, they're showing a guy here. They're trying to think that this guy has got a problem with the stiffy. I think the guy just wet himself and is embarrassed as hell. Okay.
You're not wrong. Declaration. I think he has. Oops.
I'm just putting it out there. All right.
You're not wrong, man.
The doctors put the rise in the condition known as priapism, excuse me, right, down to misuse of drugs such as Viagra, as well as illegal ones such as cocaine. No shit. Mm-hmm. No shit, really. Do you think that might be causing the issue?
Nah. Can't see that being bad.
But that's okay, because the scientists aren't through with us yet, folks. No.
Oh God, no.
We got a cure. Ecstasy, or can help people with PTSD. Study finds.
Yeah, you heard him.
Does it help with? Does it help with the PTSD? The woman who just got raped because she took the rape drugs. You were raped. A guy sit up there and drugged you and raped you. Here, have the drug that he used.
Yeah, it says something, doesn't it? It really does.
You can't make this stuff up. Here's the date rape drug. Here you go. This will get you cured. What a cure,
ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not Babylon B. This is not a joke. These are genuine stories. But wow.
MDMA assisted therapy has been able to aid people with severe post-traumatic stress disorder, according to researchers. In an updated study first published in May in the Journal of Nature Medicine, authors from the New York University of California, San Francisco, San Jose, California's nonprofit MAPS, Multiple Disciplinary Association of Psychedelic Studies, We're gonna cure your
Hmm.
PTSD by giving you a drug that makes you psychotic.
I can't see this going badly at any point, can you?
Are you worried that you were raped because somebody drank your drink? Here's a therapy session. Can you imagine the therapy sessions that go on with this? You gather up in a room. You all talk about your feelings and how you feel. The doctor lays out the drugs. And
And everyone,
you wake up the next day with Bill's arm in your face and Mary laying across you and everybody's naked.
sounds like a normal party to me, but, what can I say?
They were doing this in the 70s, folks. They didn't even need the drug. Freaking. This is what happens when you actually think that the degree you gave the hippie makes them a better person.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just putting it out there. I am just putting it out there.
It is hilarious, though, isn't it? This is
My
going
God.
on.
In a double-blind study, participants were randomized and received manualized therapy with the psychedelic or other placebos combined with 3 preparatory and 9 integrative therapy sessions. These are real stories.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not wrong, by the way, Jim. Treatment might actually work the PTSD thing because regular stuff isn't working. No, you know what? You are right there. Except, and I would love the concept of getting access to the ecstasy, but not necessarily, given my particular heart condition. But boy, wouldn't it be fun? Be fun.
I'm just putting it out.
Like today.
Yeah, okay, that's like saying, ecstasy, huh? How about just giving them weed? You must have just let them sit around in a pot circle.
It would work better. Then again, if you think about it,
Probably
most
would.
people with PTSD do take weed, either edibles or they smoke it.
You know why they didn't want to give them weed?
Go on.
I figured this out. The
Yeah.
reason is because with the way the prices are for food right now, they can't afford it.
You're not necessarily wrong. Oh, mate. Wow.
Just put it out there. The ham said that we used to sit up there and just get in the weed circle, smoke a little pot. We'd have the brownie over to the side, and then we'd go out there and order Taco Bell. But Taco Bell got too expensive, man. We had to find something else.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Jim, it does. He asked to elevate heart rate. Yes, it does.
What, ecstasy?
Yeah.
I have
Or
no idea what it does, but to be honest.
To be accurate, it's not the ecstasy. It's actually one of the chemicals in it, MDMA, that does.
Yeah, it is an amphetamine of some sort. So.
Yes. That's your clue right there.
All right, we need to get away from the drugs. We need to get away from the therapy sessions and everything else. We need to do a hard hitting, story that has none of these features to it for Matt. Man burst into flames after taser used on him. Say police.
Yes, you did hear that, people.
An upstate New York man was in grave condition at the hospital after police used a taser to subdue him, and he burst into flames. They're using some new power on these tasers, I can tell you right now. 1.21 gigawatt laser.
want to
shit.
point this out to you, MC. You were the one that said that tasers weren't that dangerous. I think you
I
might want to
said
reword.
I said the word was less lethal. Okay, and the guy's still alive. Right.
Well, I can't disagree. That is technically less lethal.
I've also said that tasers shouldn't be used. All right, or the police shouldn't be using tasers.
True.
If you remember correctly, because the
So,
uses the uses for tasers, I have to admit now that they have a new use for tasers.
so, did they tell you the name of the guy that was shot? Was it Bernie or Ashley, maybe? Just wondering. What? What? I didn't say anything.
The Times Union of Albany reported that a 29-year-old man walked into a Catskill Village police department last week and got into a confrontation with officers. Chief Dave Darling confirmed to the newspaper that officers deployed a taser to subdue him, who had just doused himself with hand sanitizer, and the man burst into flames.
There we go.
This is. I'm sorry. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
Ready? Taser, taser, taser. Oh, flamethrower. Wrong one!
I fired the wrong thing. Sorry, Gov.
I was reaching for my taser. I thought it was a taser. Oh, you mean you shot the man? No. I kind of lit him on fire because I grabbed the flamethrower.
Yeah.
Hand sanitizer. He doused himself with hand sanitizer.
Well, I can't really disagree. I mean, hand sanitizer generally does have alcohol in it. I do wonder exactly how much he used, but,
How do you doused yourself in it? They sell this stuff in the 50-gallon drum gloves.
it is bad, I know.
Darling said that the officers were familiar with the man from previous encounters. I think my flamethrower idea has a little bit more merit to it here.
Won't be coming back now.
I think they were afraid they were going to hurt himself.
So we did it for him. Yeah.
The police described the situation as horrible. Nobody had brought the weenies.
No, come on.
They ran out
MC.
of s'mores.
Exactly. The only reason it was horrible was because no one had marshmallows to cook over the person. That was all.
Put another log on the fire. He seems to be.
Oh.
I know that there's a guy here whose family is upset because their loved one is burnt to a crisp. Kevin A. Lubrand, an attorney for the man's family, declined to discuss the details, but he said he asked the police to preserve all recordings and written materials related to the encounter.
So basically, there's him running up and down going, okay. Oh, wow.
Hand sanitizer, or was the guy freebasing? I mean,
Not in pure gasoline, I reckon.
taser. See, I mean, kind of makes you wish for the old days of the Billy Club now, doesn't it?
So very true. You A, get a slight headache, or B, get set on fire. Now, which one's worse again? Can't remember.
How do you douse? I'm still trying to understand how you douse yourself in hand sanitizer.
Maybe the bottle exploded all over. Look, I'm trying here.
What is it? What are you talking about? You doused yourself in hand sanitizer. Now, I don't know. I mean, in the United States, the hand sanitizer bottles are like a bar of soap sized thing.
Yeah.
they're, they're not gallons, right? You don't take them out in a jug, right?
Maybe he used several.
You don't hook them up to your shower head and spray yourself. I'm just putting it out here. I just
I
think the
understand.
I just think the wording could be done a little bit better, don't you? Don't you think that the wording here could be
Yeah. Yeah.
a little more
I am so sorry for you, Susan. So sorry for you.
What's wrong,
Sorry,
Steve?
just something. She said my cousin's daughter badly burnt having surgeries. So sorry for her. We're not doing this to take the piss out of her. We're taking the piss out of Mr. Hand Sanitizer. Trust me.
I'm taking the piss out of the idiot who wrote the article.
Fair point. Fair
Right?
point.
I mean, and look, tasers are. I've said this before. The reason cops should not be carrying tasers is the use of a taser. All right, is limited. It's
Yeah.
not a versatile tool. Okay,
Yeah.
so why carry it in the
Yeah.
in the non-thinking moment when you're just reacting and you're not thinking, right? Faux pas are going to happen all the time when people mean to pull the taser and they actually pull a gun and shoot people. It happens more than people realize simply because of the human condition, because that's what human beings are. All right, we're
Yeah.
fallible. Okay, and for you to say I can use a taser in this situation, like I said, the suspect has to be basically non-mobile. It's not moving around a lot. Because if the suspect is
Hmm.
running, if he's moving left or right, or she's moving left or right, hitting somebody with a taser is very difficult,
Yeah.
right?
Before you do, both Flying Falcon and TM have seen gallon plus hand sanitizers. Yeah, you're not weird. We've only got little ones over here. All right, maybe we don't like the idea of setting ourselves on fire. What can I say?
Then again, see, but this happened in New York. If this was in Florida, I would fully understand.
Yes, so would I.
Right? I could understand,
Oh man.
and if you want to know why, I could understand why you have gallon drums of freaking hand sanitizer. Let's read this story. In a plea deal, a Florida creep who was spotted masturbating on the back of a woman shopping with her son in the toy aisle of Walmart has been sentenced to 15 months in state prison. They should have just
Yeah.
shot him.
Yes.
If they'd have hit this guy with a taser, would he have lit on fire? I mean, let's just put it out here. You know, I know fires are dangerous, and that people really care about them and things like that. I understand that, but you know, it just.
This is the moment where he deserves everything he got.
No,
I totally agree.
He deserves far more. During a circuit court hearing Wednesday for Elias Floor, 21, pleaded no contest to a felony child abuse charge in connection with the vile act at a Walmart in Winter Haven in 2019. Pictured to the right, Floor was originally charged with lewd and lascivious behavior in the presence of a child under the age of 16. Floor copped to a lesser child abuse count. As part of the plea agreement, prosecutors dropped the misdemeanor battery count. Why did you drop anything?
There's one thing.
Why did you
There's one
just
thing.
throw the book at this guy?
There's one thing you need to remember. Okay, it's a good job people didn't agree to at Walmart, or there's a whole bunch of questions that need to be asked about this place. Just saying. You know, just saying.
Upon completion for his prison term, Floor was taken into custody following his plea and was placed on probation for 3 years. He is also ordered to pay $900 in fines and court costs. This guy's getting it light. Hell, the woman that was driving the freaking what was it, the golf cart down the street naked
Yeah.
had to pay have to undergo a psychosexual evaluation. Yep, he's a perv. Blam! There! I've analyzed the situation. According to the police report, he approached the victim from behind while she was shopping with her 12-year-old son. He unzipped his pants, pulled out his penis, and masturbated until he ejaculated on the pants of the victim.
I don't know what to say. I really don't. One thing I will say is, next time you go into Walmart, be really careful about people walking up behind you. If this is the sort of crap that is going on, seriously, people, keep your head on a swivel. Just make sure.
I'm going to point something out here. You want to know if this is the case? Okay, how long was the woman just standing there?
Or how quick was he? That should be the second part to that question.
Okay, at which point you understand why he has a problem getting women.
This is a fair statement. Yeah.
What can go wrong? What can go wrong? This guy, this is like, get them clothes on. Oh, I'm done.
Yeah. You know,
the girl's looking at him like, huh? You didn't even put it in.
Oh.
You should be glad that I got another pants first.
You know, oh my God, gross. He literally might have been walking up behind a rubbing. Oh, gross. I don't need that mental image, but ugh. It's now stuck in my head.
He needs to be paid a visit from the guy that in the earlier article with the penile.
Yes. Oh yes.
You extended erection issue.
Here, take two. Come and see me if you can.
Oh, can you imagine the doctors that prescribed him that? Oh, this guy goes quick. Watch this. Here, have one of these little blue pills. The guy would be dead. The guy would be laying on the floor. Ah, what do I do? Ah!
Well worth it. It really would.
Get the taser. We gotta clean up the mess. Oh. Get the hand sanitizer.
Not hand sanitizer. Ew.
You know what? I guarantee you this woman feels like she had to get a gallon of hand sanitizer.
Oh.
How do you...
Don't ask questions. Seriously, don't do it, because you'll start trying to understand these people and it'll just get you a headache.
This woman, final story of the day. Well, the final story that I have in here, right?
Yes.
This woman needs to be paid a visit from the Floridians, or no, somebody, the New Yorkers down in Colorado. A British Columbia woman having a cigarette on her front porch was approached by a wandering bear that licked her on the hand. Melanie Porter said she was smoking and sitting in a chair on her front porch Thursday night in Queensland, where she was when she spotted movement in her front yard that she initially thought was a neighborhood cat. Most cats look like this because they're easily mistakable.
Yeah.
I looked up and it's a bear and I freeze. I'm thinking, oh, what do I do? What do I do? I'm just going to stay still. She said the bear walked right up to her, sniffed her, licked her on the right hand. She snapped a photo of the bear just standing inches in front of where she was sitting. If you're taking pictures of you and the bear, you're not standing still.
No. And I would like to note they are using the term licked. I prefer the term tasted. Okay? That is what that bear did. It took a taste. It realised that she didn't taste like meth, so it obviously wandered off.
No
Yes,
weed.
I brought meth bears in.
No, that's nicotine. No weed in this one. Dude, I was looking
God
for the
damn it,
hippie.
not a
I
hippie.
was looking for the hippie, dude.
Oh dear.
If I die, at least they'll see who the culprit was, she was thinking. The bear eventually backed off and she rushed inside her house. All right, it said that a neighbor's security camera footage revealed that the bear had been watching her from the yard for some time before approaching. Lady, you're a moron. Okay?
Yes. Yes.
It was so dark and he was so quiet and stealthily, I didn't even see him. It was sitting like 10 feet away. I was sitting 10 feet away from the bear the whole time.
Don't know what to say. Just. I do agree with one thing, okay? How the hell do you mistake that for a cat? Is there something you want to tell me about British Columbia that maybe I'm not getting?
The bear's going meow. I'll get me a hippie. Watch this. Meow. Here comes one. Oh man, this one just tastes like nicotine.
Oh,
Oh my god, what's the gosh? Lady, you're sitting on your front porch at night, smoking a cigarette. No, all right, let's be honest. This woman freaking, she's lucky to be alive.
Yes.
Not just because of the bear, right? She's lucky to be alive because you know she was smoking and fell asleep in her chair with a freaking cigarette in her mouth.
Let's be fair. I hope so. Okay, there's only explanation I can give, or of course they're just not admitting that that weren't just a cigarette. Okay.
Wildlife officials recommend never approaching a bear and using loud noises to keep the animals at a distance. You mean it doesn't work? That's what the bear heard. Hippie.
Yep.
There's a hippie. I know there's going to be a weed tasting one here somewhere.
Oh, that's funny.
People.
Anyway.
These are people that are opting out of the gene pool and fail. That's the sad part.
Yeah. 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 And I just want you to think about this, okay? That bear has set this all up. He's meowed like a cat. He's gone over, taken a slurp, and she wasn't even nice enough to taste, the bear's preferred flavour. What is wrong with this world?
Exactly.
Disgusting. Disgusting.
That's exactly the problem.
Mm-hmm. Lucky the bear didn't eat the taster hand. Yeah, no, you are correct there, Shirati. That could well have happened. But what can we say? She obviously didn't taste nice. Anyway.
Do you think that caused her anxiety? Do you think she's dealing with irritable bowel syndrome?
Oh my god, what? It's not. No. Nomad. Dude. You got it wrong. It's not bowel, it's irritable bear syndrome. Close.
Okay. Do you think that she's got PTSD?
I believe it.
Have some meth.
Oh.
We'll cure you of the PTSD. It's what the bear would wanted all along.
It's probably better that she has the meth than she gives to the bear. I mean, good God. Do you really want the bear getting excited? Oh, no thanks.
How else is the bear going to get a meal?
Fair point. I can't really. No, you're saying a meal. I don't know how much you know about MDMA, but you ain't worried about eating. Okay, I'm just gonna, you know, she might get to find out all fantastic things about bears. And we ain't talking about the ones down in San Francisco, ladies and gentlemen. Different bears.
Oh God. So that's all I've got
Alright.
for right now, Jensen. So unless you got something else to
Uh,
come here.
just want to say one thing to everybody. On the 11th of next month, there will be a stream for Dodge and Cabby. It'll be their wake. It's on the 11th of December. I hope to see you there. It is a Saturday, so those that can, please do. If you can't, I totally understand. You've had a full month of warning now, okay? But thank you for the news, Nomad. That was absolutely bloody hilarious. And thank you for coming, everybody. Good to see you all, even you, B. And I'll see you next time.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.